upon us. He will subdue our iniquity, and thou wilt cast all their sins into the depths of the sea.
That's right. He said he's going to cast our sins into the depths of the sea, man. He said he's going to cast our sins into the depths of the sea, man. Call Lord YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, man. Call Lord YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. Yeah, bro. You know? Yeah, man. This is beautiful. This is where it's at, man. You know? Time, bro.
We're living it.
I gotta tell you something, brother. The name of the Heavenly Father is Yahawah, and his son's name is YAHAWASHI.
YAHAWASHI.
That's right, brother. YAHAWASHI.
YAHAWASHI. YAHAWASHI.
YAHAWASHI.
Yes, sir. YAHAWASHI.
That's right, brother.
Thank you, my brother.
That's right, brother.
Thank you, brother.
That's right, brother. Call Lord YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. Call Lord YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, bro. Call Lord YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. Call Lord YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI.
It's nice.
Shalom, I'd like to give our undergoing praises to YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. Bahasham Rakakodash, like your double honors to our apostles and elders, great millstone. Salutations to our sister Akim, pushing this word across the four corners of the world. And just a quick response video to the brothers. The account name is GMS Salt or GMS Salt Bah, which is their second backup page. And they had a recent video a couple weeks ago. How it was a Jake came who they believed to be homeless, and he was just crying. You know, he was being afflicted in the spirit. And they told him the name of the only begotten son, which his true name is YAHAWASHI. So he started calling upon the name YAHAWASHI. He was crying and hugging brothers at the same time, which was a very spiritual and touching moment to see. So it just made me think through the spirit, just like our people are hurting here in this setup, in this captivity, America, known as Babylon the Great, and just wherever we are scattered to across the four corners of the world due to the curses of us breaking the laws, statutes, and commandments of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. So we're paying back for those curses right now, and that's why we're in this stage. As it says in the book of Jeremiah, 17th chapter, in the 4th verse, how we was discontinued from our heritage. Because we made the Most High very furious of the acts and deeds that we did aforetime. So now we're coming back into the way of repentance, correction, being renewing our mindsets about serving YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI with a contrite spirit. And Lord willing that brother who was calling upon the name YAHAWASHI, you know, the spirit works with him and he'll be all right. And this is the book of Daniel, the 7th chapter, the 25th verse. And he should speak great words against the Most High. That he was referencing the so-called white man who was known as Esau, Edom, the Edomites. And says, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High. So the saints was representing the children of Israel, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You read the book of Psalm, the 148 chapter, the 14th verse. It tells you who are the true saints of the Most High. So notice this word right here says wear out. We're going to get that in the blue letter.
Strong's H1080. Belah. Belah.
And for the definition right here, it says to wear away, wear out, to harass constantly, figuratively. And what's that? By this system. You go into the word system, it goes into a pit. And that's exactly how, beginning with the nation of Edom and all these other nations who are joint heirs with Edom in this rulership, how they have oppressed us as a people. And one of the coming terms is being more into the news now. It's called post-traumatic slave syndrome, PTSS. And it goes into about multi-generational trauma and injustices experienced by so-called African Americans. And really to all the tribes, the so-called Native Americans, the so-called Hispanics, the so-called Latinos. Because the spirit bear witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High. So that's going to those reproaches, that stigma, all the ridicule and mocking that we had to suffer here in this captivity by us breaking that breach of contract to YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. So that word is called post-traumatic slave syndrome, which goes into about how you have difficulty concentrating, you being easily angered, you avoid certain places or people or activities or events, you just emotionally numb, you feel hopelessness. You just ball all that up into one word, it's the curses. You read the book of Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, 15 verse on down, it talks about the curses. And that's what we are experiencing right now in this setup, which is called post-traumatic slave syndrome. Because you go into the NMR online for trauma, and one of the words that goes into psychic wound, unpleasant experience which causes abnormal stress. And those are the curses. In the book of Jeremiah, the 10th chapter, the 19th verse, it says, "Woe is me, for my hurt, my wound is grievous." So that wound or that trauma that the Most High put on us are those curses. And we're being afflicted in the spirit. And only the ones that YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI is going to save in these last times are the ones that's being afflicted, crying out upon him for deliverance. And as you can see, that brother in that video, who the brothers believe to be homeless, that's a great start through the spirit. Because you have a lot of our people in today's time, they're being afflicted. 2/3 of our people, they're going through the same curses just like us. But a lot of them cannot bear the indignation of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. So what's the only solution? They make that covenant with death. They sell out to Esau's realm, that Hollywood realm, which goes into all type of satanic devices. So they cannot bear that indignation and maintain their integrity and just wait upon their power, YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, to redeem them out of their situation, out of their stress, out of their mental trauma. So they took the cheat code and they had to pay for that wicked vibration they've been putting out there. Because now they are set up as leaders and they have misled our people to the downfall. The scriptures say how our people is going to be scattered like sheep and having no shepherd. And this is Isaiah 42 verse 22. But this is a people robbed and spoiled. And the people is talking about the biblical Israelites. And we are robbed of our identity as being the children of Israel. This is the only captivity that we did not know that we are the Israelites of the Bible. So we are robbed and spoiled. We are like that booty to these other nations. And they took much advantage of us, and it's still going on in today's time. So by us being robbed and spoiled of our identity, so that means mass majority of our people do not know who to call upon for that divine intervention, which is YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. And this is all systematically designed by the nation of Edom, and also trickling on down to these other nations who are joint heirs with them. But more so, this ultimate setup was designed by YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. He just utilized the nation of Edom to be that whipping stick upon us for breaking his word, for breaking his covenant. So, but this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. So the prison houses, first and foremost, mentally. And just wherever we are scattered to across the four corners of the world, because that's a part of the curses as well, that we're going to be scattered across the four corners of the world. So this is like a spiritual prison house for the children of Israel, what we call earth. They are for a prey and none delivered, for a spoil and none say restore. So now YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI has raised up his righteous prophets out there on highways and byways across the various cities of America and just across the four corners of the world as well. And now we come into that mindset of being restored, being renovated in the mind, singing that new song. Because the songs that we were singing here in this captivity, it never connected us to YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, to that spiritual connection. So now by calling upon those names, as you see that this brother did in this video, now you're being restored, you're being renewed, you're becoming a new creature in YAHAWASHI. And this is Isaiah 61 verse 1. And you can see from the title, it says, Exaltation of the Afflicted. And that's the hopeful elect of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. That's what we're doing through the Spirit. We're exalting, we're elevating, we're glorifying the names of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI in these last days. And upon the afflicted of the children of Israel, the ones that are sighing and crying for all the abominations done in the midst thereof. In the book of Luke, the 18th chapter and 7th verse, it says, And should not the Most High avenge his own elect, which cry day and night unto him? So that's what we were doing through the Spirit, because the remnant of our people that's coming back into this truth by the way of remembrance, we know that something is not right in this system, in this captivity, in this world, because it's given to the hand of the wicked. So we know in our spirits that something is not right. So that's why we're hurting here. So it says, the Spirit of the Lord power is upon me, because the Lord had anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek, which goes into the humble. He had sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound. So when we're going out there on the highways and the byways, when we're doing our different videos, that's us using that spiritual bait, which is this word, and it's reaching unto the hopeful elect of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. So they're being binded. This word is considered as an engrafted word. And the only ones who have that type of love of attraction to this word are those predestinated ones, the first fruits, the elect. It says in the book of 2 Timothy 1:9 that the elect was given to Yahawashi before the world began. So those are the ones that are going to spiritually bite that bait, cherish it, and hold on to it with truth and sincerity. That small remnant, that remainder that's going to come to YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI in these last days, the afflicted, the brokenhearted, those captives, because majority of our people in this setup, they still want to be brokenhearted here. They still want to be those captives here. They're cool and content by being slaves here in America or wherever they are scattered to. They're not looking forward to a new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. So they'd rather stay here and join hand to the wicked. And majority of our people in that mindset are going to be destroyed along with the wicked. So it says, he has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted. So we use the word of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI by the way of preaching unto the hopeful elect to bind them into the truth. And this is the book of Jeremiah, the 16th chapter, and the 16th verse. It says, behold, I will send for many fishers, said the Lord, and they shall fish for the hopeful elect. In the book of Mark, the 1st chapter, the 17th verse, when Yahawashi saw different disciples before they came disciples, but he knew through the Spirit that they were soon going to be disciples. And when they was fishing, doing their work, Yahawashi said unto them, come ye after me, and I will make you become fishers of men. And those particular men, they straightway forsook their nets and followed Yahawashi. So it's no different in this setup, because whatsoever was written aforetime was written for our learning. So it's happening all over again. So behold, I will send for many fishers, said the Lord, and they shall fish them. And after will I send for many hunters. So when the fishing is done, that's when the fun really is going to kick in, become those hunters. And that's by YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI blessing his elect with that spiritual power. And they shall hunt them from every mountain and from every hill and out of the holes of the rocks. But the point of this verse is going to how YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI is utilizing his righteous prophets to be those fishers of men, which is binding up the brokenhearted, the captives, the ones that are sighing and crying. So I stated earlier that this word is likened unto that spiritual bait, and only the elect of the nation of Israel are going to be the ones to bite onto it. And this is the book of Baruch, chapter 4, verse 36. O Jerusalem, look about thee toward the east, and behold the joy that cometh unto thee from YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. Lo, thy sons come, whom thou sentest away. They come gathered together from the east to the west by the word of the Holy One, rejoicing in the glory of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. So we were sent away, as it says in the book of Isaiah, the 22nd chapter, that he was going to toss us like a ball into a large country, hence the transatlantic slave trade. So by that, sooner or later, we became those Gentiles. We started being likened unto the ways of these other nations, following after their gods. And that's by YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI hiding their faces away from us. So now we're coming to that way of remembrance by this word, because we're at the end of this so-called white man's chapter. And like within every movie, what always come out at the end? The truth. So it says, now thy sons come, and those sons are those predestinated sons that are fitted for salvation. Those first fruits, the elect, whom thou sentest away. So we were sent away across the four corners of the world due to our transgressions. And we were just likened unto the other nations. So now we're coming back into that renewed mindset of serving YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI with that contrite spirit. They come gathered together from the east to the west by the word of the Holy One, which is that spiritual bait. The only ones can be able to eat that spiritual bait and catch hold to it are the elect, rejoicing in the glory of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI. Going back to what I read earlier in Isaiah, the 61st chapter, the title, it says, the exaltation of the afflicted. So that's what the elect are doing in these last days, those righteous prophets of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, exalting, glorifying, rejoicing the names of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI upon the afflicted of our people that are sighing, crying for all the abominations done in the midst thereof. So this is biblical prophecies that we're seeing coming to pass right before our very own eyes. So jump back to the book of Isaiah 61. So it says, the Spirit of the Lord power is upon me, because the Lord had anointed me to preach good tidings unto the meek, preaching the kingdom of heaven. He has sent me to bind up the brokenhearted, to proclaim liberty to the captives, and the opening of the prison to them that are bound. So now in these last days, we are putting on those beautiful garments, and we're shaking ourselves from that dust, that confusion. Verse 2, to proclaim the acceptable year of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, and the day of the vengeance of our power, to comfort all that mourn. So we persuade many, which goes to the ones that are afflicted in these last days, the elect of the nation of Israel, about the destruction of what YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI is going to bring. And the ones of our people that are not right in the eyes of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI, they're going to be partakers of that destruction. Because that day is going to be like a day of darkness, a day of gloominess. So we are comforting all our people that mourn, the afflicted, the brokenhearted, those captives. The ones who are really trying to seek YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI with a contrite spirit in these last days. So that's why it's important for us to bring out this word to our people and teach it in the right perspective. Which leads me to the book of Ezekiel 34:2. Son of man, prophesy against the shepherds of Israel. So the ones of our people that know they are Israelites, and they still want to mislead our people with these wayward doctrines, the falsehoods of this current setup, the fashion of this world. So you're scattering the Lord's sheep. So it said, prophesy, saying to them, thus said the Lord, power unto the shepherds. Woe be to the shepherds of Israel that do feed themselves. Should not the shepherds feed the flocks? So you're supposed to feed our people with the right word, the right doctrine, the right bread. Ye eat the fat, and ye clothe you with the wool. Ye kill them that are fed, but ye feed not the flock. The disease have ye not strengthened, neither have ye healed that which was sick. Neither have you bound up that which was broken. Neither have ye brought again that which was driven away. Neither have you sought that which was lost. But with force and with cruelty have ye ruled them. So as a shepherd or a leader of the nation of Israel, you're supposed to rightly divide the word of truth unto our people, those sheep. And those sheep are going to follow that shepherd, just like the elect are following Yahawashi whithersoever he will. So you're supposed to bring out this word in a true, righteous perspective, not winging it, not selling out to Esau and teaching his dogma upon our people. And we'll jump down to verse 11. And as you can see, it says the restoration of Israel, going back to their repairing, their rebuilding, their renewing, renovating. For thus said the Lord power, behold, I, even I, will both search my sheep and seek them out. It says in the book of Matthew, the 18th chapter, for the Son of Man has come to save that which was lost, which goes into the elect of the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Because according to the book of 2 Corinthians, the 4th chapter, and 3rd verse, it goes into, but if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost. So it's a balance with being lost. 2/3 of our people that are lost in this setup, they are not going to come into this illuminated light with a contrite spirit. But the elect of our people are, which are the ones that YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI are truly seeking for in these last days. Verse 12, as a shepherd seeketh out his flock in the day that he is among his sheep that are scattered, so will I seek out my sheep and will deliver them out of all places where they have been scattered in the cloudy and dark day. And I will bring them out from the people and gather them from the countries and will bring them to their own land and feed them upon the mountains of Israel by the rivers and in all the inhabited places of the country. Verse 14, I will feed them in a good pasture, and upon the high mountains of Israel should their fold be. There should they lie in a good fold, and a fat pasture should they feed upon the mountains of Israel. And this is Wisdom of Solomon 16, verse 12. For it was neither herb nor mollifying plaster that restored them to health. So another word for restore is repair, renovate, to rebuild. Linking up to Amos, the 9th chapter, 11th verse, I will raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old. So now we're being restored through the Spirit, and through this process of being restored, calling upon YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI with a contrite spirit in these last days, we're going through a spiritual brainwashing. This is like a righteous MK Ultra. So we're being restored back unto health. And the Most High state in the book of Malachi, the 4th chapter, that he's going to come with healing in his wings. So by thy word, O Lord, which healeth all things. So that concludes the lesson. And, you know, that was a very spiritual video, you know, by the brother of brothers, you know, GMS Salt and GMS Salt Bah, of that Jake Collin putting the name YAHAWASHI. And within the spirit, you can tell it was very genuine. He was very sincere about it. And Abba Rathas out there, he'll be taken care of. And that's a faith booster to us as the hopeful elect. Just continue to look forward and continue to proclaim the names of YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI upon the afflicted of our people, which are the elect, no matter what. So the exaltation of the afflicted. And with that, Lord willing, you was edified. You all stay strong. Shalom.
Grandfather sold the church before I even came home.
Nah, brother, this is a church, brother. We a congregation of men, bro.
I always save my other half for another home. Somebody showed up.
Bro. Oh, Lord, Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. That's right. YAHAWAH Yahawashi. That's right, brother. You know? The Lord is great, man. The Lord is magnificent. You know, his wonders are going to be into the end of the earth, man.